Hi guys, I'm Samina and welcome to the Cupcake Confession. Today I am showing you how to make orange curd and lavender cupcakes. The sponge itself is citrusy and full of orange zest and juice, and then we add a deliciously sunny, summery orange curd surprise in these cupcakes, and finally we top it with some lavender infused buttercream frosting. A few days ago we learned how to make boiled milk buttercream frosting, and what I love about this is the innovative and unique ways you can infuse flavors in this. And we've done the exact same thing by infusing lavender buds or culinary lavender. These need to be edible, so we've used culinary lavender and infused it into the milk and cream mix, and this adds a really woody, herby fragrance and taste to your buttercream frosting, which pairs so well with the tart, summery, sunny orange curd. This is summer in a cupcake and you are going to love it. Now I'm going to show you how I made these cupcakes from scratch. Here you go. First thing we're going to do, preheat the oven to 160°C or 325°F. Here we're sifting all our dry ingredients. So we have our all-purpose flour, our baking powder and caster sugar, and I'm going to give it a good whisk. Mix everything together. Then I'm going to pour all of this mix into my bowl that is attached to the stand mixer with the paddle attachment on. On a very slow speed, I'm just going to combine all the dry ingredients together. Then I'm going to add my salted softened butter. If you're using unsalted butter, you can also add some salt in the dry ingredients mix. Then you're just going to give it a good mix on a slow speed till all of the butter is combined into the dry ingredients. I like to scrape the sides and go along the bottom of the bowl while I'm doing so, just to make sure that there are no stray bits of flour that are not attached to the butter, because the butter needs to break down. And once that has happened, we're going to add the eggs one at a time, mixed really well between each addition. So it's just going to start to look more like a cake batter at this point when you add the second egg. This is when you're going to add some orange zest, and once you've given that a good mix for about 10 to 15 seconds, you're going to start adding the orange juice. Now this is freshly squeezed orange juice that I'm going to add along the sides of the bowl. I don't want to add everything in one go, and it'll be a slow, steady stream. Once all of that has been put into the batter, I'm just going to mix it on medium-high speed for about 30 seconds. Then I'm going to scrape the sides and along the bottom of the bowl and beat again for another 30 seconds. I don't want to overwork the batter at this point. Here I have a 12-hole muffin tin that I have lined with cupcake liners. I'm going to fill them 3/4 of the way through, and once they're completely filled, they will be baked in the oven at 160°C, 325°F for about 20 to 22 minutes. It should be soft and springy to the touch, and a knife or a skewer inserted in the center must emerge clean. Now while that's baking, we're going to move on to making our orange curd. So here I have freshly squeezed orange juice, caster sugar and egg yolks. Now here I've added 2 egg yolks because I want the texture of the curd to be slightly runny, as it will be filled in the center and as a topping for our cupcake. So after a while you'll see that it starts bubbling a lot, and I'd say that you would have to cook this out for about 3 to 4 minutes. Once it's off the stove, you're going to add the orange zest and then some cold chopped butter. I like to add the butter a little at a time, just until the first batch has melted. Then I add some more. This just makes the curd really silky smooth. I'm going to take this curd out into a container, and I'm going to top the surface with some parchment paper just to make sure that the skin doesn't form. Let it cool down to room temperature and then pop it into the fridge. Now we're going to move on to make our lavender buttercream. So here I have some heavy cream and milk. To that I'm going to add my lavender buds. Now I'm going to bring this milk and cream mix to a boil with the lavender in it, because I really want to infuse the lavender flavor. So once it comes to the boil, I'm going to take it off the heat and let it cool down to room temperature. Now as it cools down, it's really going to infuse the lavender flavor. Then I'm going to strain the lavender and put that milk mix back again. There might be a few stray lavender buds, and that's fine if it's left in the saucepan. Then I'm going to add my caster sugar. Give it a good mix till the sugar has dissolved. Once the sugar has dissolved, I'm going to add my flour, swap my spatula for a whisk and really whisk rigorously till all the lumps have dissolved into this mix, and then I'm going to bring it to the boil. And essentially when I'm making this, it needs to boil for about 3 to 4 minutes just to make sure that the floury taste in this has gone, and that takes about 3 to 4 minutes to happen. Once you've reached that stage, you're going to take it out into a container again, and then again you're going to cover this with the parchment paper touching the tops or the top surface of this mix so that a skin doesn't form. Once it has cooled down to room temperature, we're going to start making the buttercream. So we're going to beat the butter. This is softened salted butter. We're just going to beat it with a paddle attachment. I realized that when we do that, it's much easier to handle the butter and it softens pretty quickly. So once that's done, I'm going to swap the paddle attachment for a whisk, and then I'm going to put a little by little of this room temperature lavender pudding mix that we just created a few moments ago. So I like to add a little at a time, just until it's really well incorporated into the buttercream. And at this point, when you smell the buttercream or you taste it, it'll smell of real good lavender. So here's our buttercream that's completely ready. Now it's time to prepare or assemble the cupcake. So I'm using a Wilton tip, the back of the Wilton tip, to make a hole in my cupcake, which I'm going to fill with some decadent tart sweet orange curd, and then we're going to pipe it with some of that lavender infused buttercream. Then we're going to drizzle some of that orange curd again, and then top with some dried lavender buds. And here you have the most amazing orange and lavender cupcakes. But this is the fun part. We're going to slice into it and look what's inside, and it is absolutely decadent, and you are going to love this. So that is it, guys. That was my recipe for the orange curd and lavender cupcakes. If you like this recipe, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And if you have any comments or suggestions, any questions, feedback, pop them down in the comments below. I really hope you make this recipe, and when you do, don't forget to post a photo of your cupcakes on Instagram and tag me so I can have a look at them. I post a recipe every Tuesday and Thursday, but if you want to be notified, then don't forget to subscribe. And while you do that, also ding this bell button so you will get a notification every time I post a new recipe. So until I see you again next time, bye!